Have you ever felt like you're running faster and faster, but somehow falling behind? Have you ever laughed just to hide how tired you really are? We live in busy days, waking up to deadlines, rushing through conversations, falling asleep with a heavy heart. Every day, we try to meet expectations, we chase approval, we stretch ourselves thinner and thinner, until one day we whisper inside, "Is this really my life?" If you've ever asked yourself that, if you've ever felt lost in the noise, if you've ever wondered, "Is there another way?" You're in the right place. There's an old path, a way of living that's been tested by thousands of years. It doesn't promise fame, it doesn't promise riches, it promises something much better. Peace, clarity, strength. This path is called Stoicism. In this video, we're not chasing perfection. We're not chasing dreams. We're learning how to stand strong right where we are. We're learning how to find calm in the middle of the storm. Simple lessons, small changes, big results. If you're ready, let's take the first step together. If you're ready to stop feeling like life is running you, if you're ready to take back your mind, your heart, your peace, then stay with me, because this video is not just another story, it's your starting line. By the end, you'll understand how to face chaos with a steady heart, how to meet disappointment without losing yourself, how to build a life so solid that no storm can shake it. But before we dive deeper, I want you to make a decision. Right now, scroll down and leave a simple comment. I choose peace, not for the algorithm, not for anyone else, but for you to plant a seed that today you choose a different path. Now let me tell you a story. Once there was a man. Every morning he woke up, raced against the clock, answered 100 emails, pleased 100 people, and went to bed. He feeling empty. He thought if he just worked harder, they would appreciate him more. He thought if he just smiled bigger, he would finally feel seen. But the harder he ran, the more invisible he became. Until one evening, he sat in his car, too tired to move. He stared at the steering wheel, he stared at nothing, and somewhere in that silence he realized, I was never running toward happiness, I was running away from myself. And this is where our lesson begins. Now, let's step into our first lesson together. Today's first lesson is simple, but life-changing. Master yourself, or the world will master you. We live in a world that tells us to move faster, work harder, smile bigger, and somehow still feel like we're never enough. Maybe you know the feeling. You finish a 10-hour day, but the guilt still whispers, you could have done more. You show up for everyone, but still wonder, was I good enough? You give and give and give until there's nothing left. And even then, they ask for more. Here's the truth. No one told us. You can set yourself on fire, trying to keep others warm, and they still won't notice you're burning. When you live by the world's scoreboard, you will always lose, because the goalposts, they keep moving. Every success becomes invisible. Every failure gets magnified, and the harder you chase approval, the further away your own peace slips. This is where Stoicism whispers, you don't have to play that game. You don't have to outrun the world. You don't have to prove your worth. You only have one person to master, yourself. Not your boss, not your parents, not the stranger on the internet, just your own mind. Imagine living a life where your worth isn't up for debate, where your value isn't decided by likes, promotions, or applause. Imagine waking up already enough. Not because the world says so, but because you say so. This is the first lesson, and maybe the most important. Master yourself, and the world loses its power over you. Now, take a slow breath, because the real training begins here. Let's go deeper, because mastering yourself means seeing the invisible chains first. Here's a truth that most people will never say out loud. The world will always want more from you. More time, more energy, more pieces of your soul, and the more you give, the more they ask. It's not because they're evil, it's not because you're weak. It's because people are wired to take until you draw the line. When you live for approval, you hand over your happiness to strangers. You trade your inner peace for a few seconds of external applause. You become a prisoner in a jail you built with your own hands. Every compliment becomes a drug. Every criticism becomes a dagger. And slowly, without noticing, your self-worth gets tied to everything and everyone except yourself. Stoicism cuts through that noise. It says your worth is internal, unchanging, invisible to the crowd. No matter who praises you, no matter who abandons you, you are still who you are, solid, steady enough. Imagine living one day where no insult could shake you, no compliment could blind you, where you walk through this noisy world and still hear your own heart. Clearer than ever, this isn't arrogance, this isn't selfishness, this is self-respect, this is freedom, and it starts by stopping the chase. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, take a deep breath and feel it. The chains are loosening. Now, we've seen the cost of chasing approval, but what's the solution? How do you live free in a world built on expectations? The answer is ancient and simple. You build your inner citadel. Imagine a fortress strong enough that no arrows can pierce it, no storms can shake it, no lies can enter it. That fortress is inside you. It's built brick by brick, decision by decision, habit by habit. Every time you say, "I will not let the opinions of others define me," you lay another brick. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you choose peace over panic, you reinforce your walls. Every time you act by your values instead of your fears, your fortress grows stronger. Stoicism isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about caring deeply about the right things, not applause, not gossip, not fleeting moods, but your own mind, your own principles, your own peace. Start today, start small. When someone criticizes you, pause, don't react, don't defend, just breathe. And remember, they don't hold your worth, you do. When a plan falls apart or life gets messy, pause and smile even if it's just inside, and say to yourself, "I am stronger than this moment." Every time you choose your own mind over the noise outside, you build, you grow, you become unshakable, and that is real freedom. Now, are you ready for the next step? Before we move forward, I want you to remember something, not just hear it, feel it. You were never broken, you were never behind, you were never less than. The world just got so loud that you forgot the sound of your own heart. The world pulled you in so many directions that you lost sight of your own path. But deep down, you have always been whole, always strong, always enough. Stoicism isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've been all along, the calm inside you, the strength inside you, the fire that nothing and no one can take away. So today, make a quiet promise to yourself. I will no longer trade my peace for approval. I will no longer hand my worth to strangers. I will no longer run from myself. I choose to stand, to breathe, to be as I am, because the truth is, you don't need to conquer the world. You just need to conquer the doubt inside you. And when you do, no storm will ever own you again. Take a breath. Feel that. That's the sound of coming home to yourself. Now, let's keep building. Now, we step into our second truth. If mastering yourself is the foundation, then protecting your peace is the next wall you must build. And it starts with one word, no, somewhere along the way. We were taught that no is rude, selfish, wrong. So we learned to say yes, even when we meant no. We learned to agree, even when it cost us our peace. We smiled, even when we were breaking inside. But here's the truth you must know. Every yes you say is a no to something else. When you say yes to every request, you say no to your own needs. When you say yes to every invitation, you say no to your own rest. When you say yes to every expectation, you say no to your own dreams. You are not infinite. You are not made of endless energy. You are human, and every time you ignore your limits, you chip away at your own soul, slowly, quietly, until one day you wake up and don't recognize yourself anymore. Stoicism reminds us, not every battle is yours to fight. Not every burden is yours to carry. Not every invitation deserves your presence. Imagine this. Every time you say no to something that drains you, you say yes to your sanity. Every time you say no to expectations that don't fit you, you say yes to your true self. Every time you say no to the noise, you say yes to the stillness inside you. It's not selfish, it's not cruel, it's wise, it's kind, it's necessary. This is how you protect your peace. It starts with one small word, no, and it can save your life. Now that you know how important it is to say no, the next question is, how do you say it without guilt, without burning bridges, without losing yourself? First, understand this. You are not responsible for other people's emotions. You are responsible for your own honesty. When you say no with kindness, when you say no with clarity, you are respecting both yourself and them. It's not about rejecting the person. It's about protecting your values, protecting your energy. So how do you say no? Gracefully, here's how. First, pause. You don't owe anyone an immediate answer. Take a breath, take your time. Second, be clear. You don't have to explain your whole life story. You don't have to apologize for existing. A simple, thank you for thinking of me, but I'll have to pass, is enough. Third, stand firm. If they push back, if they guilt trip you, remember their disappointment is not your failure. You did nothing wrong by choosing yourself. Stoicism teaches you control your words, you control your actions. You do not control their reactions, and that is freedom. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve your soul, you say yes to the life you're meant to live. Practice it, even in small ways. Say no to things that drain you. Say no to things that blur your peace. Say no to things that pull you away from your truth. You are not cold, you are not selfish, you are clear, and clear people build clear lives. Now let's go even deeper. So far, we've talked about saying no to the outside world, but now we have to talk about something even harder, saying no to ourselves. Because the truth is, sometimes the biggest enemy to our peace is not out there, it's in here. It's the voice that says, just one more scroll, just one more excuse, just one more time. And every time we listen, we build habits that drain us. We lose trust in ourselves. Stoicism teaches real freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Real freedom is having the strength to say, I could, but I choose not to. I could stay angry, but I choose to let go. I could waste today, but I choose to build. Setting inner boundaries means deciding what you will no longer tolerate, even from yourself. It means holding yourself to a higher standard, not for perfection, but for peace. Here's how to start. Choose one promise to yourself today. Maybe it's, I will not check my phone first thing in the morning. Maybe it's, I will speak kindly to myself today. Maybe it's, I will breathe before reacting. Keep it, no matter how small it seems, because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you rebuild trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. Imagine waking up and knowing you can rely on your own mind, your own choices, your own strength. No more battles inside, no more silent betrayals. Just clarity, just peace, just power. It starts small, it starts now. Set your boundaries, honor them, protect your inner world, because the world outside will never be calmer than the world inside you. Now, let's breathe and move forward. Now, we reach the third pillar of real freedom, owning your mind, because even if you master yourself, even if you set boundaries, there's still one battle left. The noise outside versus the voice inside. Every day, you're bombarded. News, notifications, opinions, fears, distractions. The world shouts 1,000 things at you. Buy this, fear that. Chase this, fight them. And if you're not careful, their voices become your voice. Their fear becomes your fear. Their anger becomes your anger. Until one day you wake up and realize, I don't even know what I truly think anymore. This is how the world wins, not by force, but by noise, drowning your inner compass until you forget you ever had one. Stoicism offers a different path. It teaches you to pause, to listen, to return to your own mind. Because in the end, the only voice that matters is yours, not the media, not the trends, not the critics. Just you. Imagine waking up and instead of being pulled in 100 directions, you hear one clear voice, your own solid, steady, sure. This isn't easy. It's a daily practice, but it's the practice that will save your mind and save your life. Now let's take the next step together. Now that you see how loud the world can get, the question is simple in the middle of chaos. What will you choose? Most people choose noise. They react, they panic, they follow the loudest voice without ever asking, is this even my path? But Stoicism offers a different choice. Clarity, a quiet strength, a steady mind, a clear view, even when the world is spinning. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke. You can't control the economy. You can't control other people's opinions. You can't control the storms of life, but you can control your perception, your reaction, your inner world. When chaos rises, you can pause, you can breathe, you can remember. I am the gatekeeper of my mind. I decide what enters. I decide what stays. Every time you choose clarity over chaos, you grow stronger. You see through the noise. You stop being a leaf blown by every wind. You become the mountain the winds can never move. And it's not a one-time choice. It's a practice, moment by moment, decision by decision, choosing clarity again and again and again, until clarity becomes your nature, your second skin, your true self. Breathe in, breathe out. You are not here to be swept away. You are here to stand. Now let's move even closer to mastering your mind. Now you understand the battle, but understanding is not enough. Knowledge must become practice. If you want a strong mind, you have to build it, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day, just like the ancient Stoics did. Imagine a citadel inside you, a place so strong that no insult, no chaos, no failure can ever reach your core. A place where your peace is guarded, where your clarity is protected, where your strength is unshakable. Every day you lay one more brick. When you choose patience over anger, when you choose courage over fear, when you choose discipline over distraction, and every day you practice, your inner fortress grows. Stronger, taller, wiser. It won't happen overnight. Some days you will falter, you will slip, but the fortress is not built in a moment, it's built in a lifetime of choosing yourself over the noise again and again. This is the true victory, not defeating others, not impressing the world, but mastering yourself, owning your mind, protecting your peace, no matter what storms rage outside. So the next time life tries to shake you, smile because you are not out there in the chaos. You are here, inside your citadel, solid, still, strong. Breathe in, feel that power. It was always yours. Now let's bring everything we've learned, Together, today, we begin a new journey. Control your reactions, because no matter how strong you are, no matter how wise you become, if you can't control your reaction, the world can still control you. Think about it. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You explode. A stranger insults you online. You spiral. A plan falls apart. You panic. Instant reactions feel natural, feel automatic, feel justified, but they are the chains that keep you enslaved, because the moment you react without thinking, you give away your power. You let the world push your buttons. You become a puppet, pulled by every little tug of circumstance. And Stoicism says, no to being a puppet, no to losing yourself at every turn, no to giving away your mind to chaos. Imagine this: every insult becomes an opportunity. Every setback becomes a training ground. Every disruption becomes a test of your inner strength. Nothing has the power to shake you unless you give it permission. The truth is simple. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control what happens within you. And mastering this is the heart of real power. Take a deep breath. Feel that space between the world and your mind. That's the place we're going to build. That's the freedom waiting for you. Now, let's take the first step. Have you ever wondered why a single word or a tiny mistake can ruin an entire day? Why a small storm outside can grow into a hurricane inside? Today, we step into something most people never master. Lesson 4. Control your reactions. Because no matter how peaceful you try to be, if you don't master your reactions, the world will still control you. A careless comment, a missed opportunity, a delayed plan. Each one becomes a trigger, unless you learn how to hold your mind steady. Think about it. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You explode. A stranger mocks you online. You spiral. A small plan falls apart. You panic. Instant reactions feel natural. They feel automatic. They feel justified. But they are chains. Chains that tie your mind to every pull of the outside world. Chains that steal your peace before you even realize it. Stoicism offers a different path. It says, you don't have to react. You don't have to explode. You don't have to be dragged by every emotion. You can choose. You can pause. You can respond. You can stand still while the world spins, and that's where real freedom begins. Not out there, but in here, inside your breath, inside your mind, inside the small, quiet space between stimulus and response. Today, we begin building that space. We begin reclaiming our power. It starts with something so small, so simple, the power to pause. Most people live their whole lives without ever learning one simple skill. The pause. When something triggers them, they react. Fast, hard, unthinking. They shout. They slam doors. They burn bridges, all because they never learned to wait. But what if you could change that? What if you could create a space between what happens to you and what you choose to do? That space is the key to everything. Peace lives there. Power lives there. Freedom lives there. The Stoics knew this. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So how do you build the power to pause? It starts with awareness. Notice the moment your emotions start rising. Notice before the explosion, not after, and in that tiny sliver of time. Do nothing, just breathe. Just be still. Let the first wave pass. You are not the first emotion. You are the stillness behind it. You are not the anger. You are the calm that watches it. You are not the panic. You are the breath that slows it down. At first, it will feel hard. You will want to react. You will itch to respond. But every time you pause, you grow stronger. Every time you pause, you prove to yourself, I am not a puppet. I am the one who chooses. Imagine mastering this. Imagine walking through chaos and smiling because nothing can pull you off your center. This is real power. This is real peace. And it all begins with a single pause. Now, breathe in. Hold it. Breathe out. Feel the strength already growing inside you. Let's go deeper. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get pulled into chaos? A headline, a comment, a single bad moment, and suddenly you're spinning, you're angry, you're anxious, you're drowning in a reaction that wasn't even yours to begin with. This is not an accident. The world is built to trigger you. Ads are built to make you feel lack, so you'll buy. News is built to make you feel fear, so you'll watch. Social media is built to make you feel insecure, so you'll stay scrolling everywhere you look. Someone is trying to push your buttons, trying to pull you out of yourself, trying to make you react instead of think. And the more you react, the less you control. The more you react, the easier you are to manipulate. A society addicted to outrage is a society easy to control. But you are waking up. You are beginning to see, you are beginning to remember. I am not my reactions. I am not their puppet. I am the master of my mind. Stoicism trains you to see the game, to recognize the triggers, to choose your response instead of surrendering it. Next time you feel pulled, pause, ask yourself, who wins if I lose my peace? Who profits if I lose my mind? Most of the time, it's not you. So choose differently. Protect your mind like the treasure it is. Protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. Now, let's learn how to build an even stronger defense. So if reacting is giving away your power, then responding is taking it back. Reacting is automatic, knee-jerk to emotional. Responding is conscious, deliberate, powerful. Most people don't even know there's a gap. They think stimulus equals reaction, trigger equals explosion. But the Stoics knew better. They found the hidden space in between, the moment where you can choose, the breath before the words, the pause before the anger, the silence before the storm. And that tiny gap is where your freedom lives, when something happens before you speak, before you act. Pause. Step into that gap, even if it's just for a second, and ask yourself, what would my highest self do right now? Not your ego, not your fear, not your pride, your highest self, the one who sees clearly, the one who isn't dragged by every wave, the one who chooses instead of reacting. Sometimes that choice will be silence. Sometimes it will be a simple no thank you. Sometimes it will be a deep breath and a quiet smile. But every time you respond instead of react, you grow stronger. You expand the gap. You become the master, not the puppet. And over time, what used to trigger you will barely touch you. What used to pull you into storms will barely cause a ripple, because you will have built something few ever find: control over yourself. This is not a gift. This is not luck. This is a skill, a practice, a power you grow with every pause, every breath, every conscious choice. Now, let's anchor this lesson into your daily life. Understanding is good, but transformation comes from practice. So how do you train to control your reactions? Not someday, not maybe, but starting now. Here are 3 simple exercises. You can start today, not in theory. In real life, small actions, big changes. Exercise 1, the breathing break, at least once a day. When you feel annoyed, impatient, frustrated, pause. Take 3 slow breaths. Inhale deeply, exhale fully. No talking, no reacting. Just 3 breaths to create space. Just 3 breaths to remember, I choose my response. Exercise 2, the delayed reply. Next time someone says something that stings or triggers you, don't react immediately. Pause for 5 seconds. Count silently if you must. Then choose your response, even if that response is to say nothing at all. Silence is often the most powerful answer. Exercise 3. The evening reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself 3 questions. Where did I react today? Where did I respond with strength? What will I do better tomorrow? No judgment, just awareness, because awareness is the beginning of mastery. These exercises may seem small, but small hinges swing big doors. Small disciplines build unshakable minds. And one small pause can change the course of your entire life. So start today. Breathe, pause, choose again and again until it becomes who you are, until reacting is no longer your prison, until responding becomes your freedom. Now, let's gather everything we've learned and prepare to move even deeper. Sometimes, no matter how strong you are, no matter how hard you try, life will not move the way you want. Plans fall apart, people disappoint you, dreams slip through your fingers, and no matter how tightly you hold on, the world keeps turning without your permission. This is where most people break. They fight reality, they resist what already is, and in doing so, they create their own suffering. The Stoics saw this clearly. They taught, if you are distressed, it is not because of the thing itself, but your judgment about it. Change your judgment, and you change your life. Acceptance is not giving up. Acceptance is seeing clearly. It's recognizing the difference between what you control and what you never could. Imagine trying to hold back the ocean with your bare hands. You would drown in frustration. But what if you learned to ride the waves? What if you flowed with life instead of against it? This is the heart of Stoicism. This is the power of acceptance. Not passive, not weak, but powerful, clear, unbreakable. When you stop fighting reality, you free your energy. Energy to grow, to heal, to rebuild. Not from bitterness, but from clarity. There is peace waiting on the other side of surrender, not the surrender of defeat, the surrender of wisdom. Now, let's go deeper. Let's learn how to practice this art of acceptance. Have you ever felt like the harder you tried to fix something, the worse it became, the more you fought the truth, the heavier it crushed you? This is the hidden burden most people carry. Fighting reality. When something painful happens, our first instinct is to resist, to argue with the facts, to wish things were different, to cling to a world that no longer exists. But reality doesn't bend to our wishes, it simply is. And the more we fight it, the more we suffer. Imagine trying to hold a river in your hands. Imagine trying to stop a storm by shouting at the sky. No matter how hard you try, the river keeps flowing, the storm keeps raging, and you only exhaust yourself. Stoicism teaches, do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly. Acceptance is not weakness. Acceptance is wisdom. It's seeing clearly. It's releasing the burden of needing the world to fit your plans. You don't have to like everything that happens. You don't have to pretend pain doesn't hurt. But you can choose not to add extra suffering. You can choose to meet life as it comes, with strength, with grace, with clarity. Because fighting what already is a battle you will never win. But flowing with reality, that's a victory the world cannot take from you. Now let's learn how to practice real acceptance in everyday life. Letting go sounds simple, but it might be the hardest art to master. We cling, we hold on, we fight to keep what is slipping away. People, dreams, plans, control. And every time we cling, We suffer because the more we tighten our grip, the more life slips through our fingers, like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. But what if you loosened your hand? What if you let the water flow instead of trying to own it? Stoicism teaches, if you long for what you cannot control, you will be distressed. But if you accept what is beyond your power, you will find freedom. Letting go is not giving up. It's recognizing, this is not mine to control. This is not my burden to carry. This is not my storm to stop. It's stepping back, breathing deeper, choosing peace over possession. Imagine facing loss and still standing steady. Imagine seeing change and not being shattered. Imagine letting go without losing yourself. This is the art. This is the strength. Not in clinging, but in releasing. Next time something feels heavy, ask yourself, am I trying to control the uncontrollable? Am I fighting a battle that reality has already decided? If the answer is yes, then maybe the strongest thing you can do is let go, not out of defeat, but out of wisdom. The river flows, the seasons turn, life moves, and so can you. Now let's bring this even closer to your daily life. Acceptance. It's a word people throw around, but what does it really mean? To many, acceptance sounds like weakness, like surrender, like giving up, but real acceptance is nothing like that. Real acceptance is power. It's seeing reality exactly as it is, without sugarcoating, without denial, without fear. It's standing face to face with the storm and saying, I see you, I feel you, but you do not control me. Acceptance is not agreeing that everything is good. It's not pretending pain doesn't hurt. It's not smiling through injustice. Acceptance is simply this: seeing clearly, choosing to see what is instead of being trapped by what you wish would be. When you accept, you stop wasting energy fighting the unchangeable, energy arguing with the past, energy resenting the facts, and you redirect that energy toward what you can change. Your response, your perspective, your next step. This is real courage, not the courage to fight life, the courage to face it as it is and to still stand tall. The Stoics didn't teach us to love every event. They taught us to master every event, not by force, not by fantasy, but by clear sight, by steady action. Next time you face something painful, pause, don't fight it. Don't deny it, just see it, just breathe with it, just accept that it is here. And from that acceptance, choose your next move with wisdom, not with panic, because when you accept reality, you don't lose, you lead. Now, let's anchor this wisdom even deeper into your daily life. Understanding acceptance is powerful, but practicing it is where real transformation happens. Because theory is easy, application is where strength is forged. So how do you bring acceptance into your daily life? Not just when it's easy, but when it's hard, when plans collapse, when people disappoint you, when reality punches you in the chest. Here are 3 simple practices. Practice 1. Notice your resistance. Every time you feel frustration, anger, bitterness, pause. Ask yourself, what am I resisting? Is it traffic? Is it someone's behavior? Is it a change you didn't want? Just noticing begins to loosen the grip. Awareness is the first crack of freedom. Practice 2. Speak the truth when something happens and it hurts. Say to yourself, this is happening. I may not like it, but this is real. Simple, clear, acknowledging reality without drama, without denial. Practice 3. Refocus your power. After accepting what is, ask, what is still in my control? Your breath, your words, your next action always. There is something you can choose. Focus there. Act from there. Acceptance doesn't mean inaction. It means wise action, clear action, centered action. Every day you practice this, you build inner strength, you suffer less, you flow more, you waste less energy on battles you were never meant to fight, and you reclaim that energy for living fully. Acceptance is not weakness. It's the foundation of real power. Now breathe deeply. Feel the heaviness leave your shoulders. You are learning the ancient art of moving with life, not against it. Let's gather everything we've explored and move forward. Life today is noisy. Endless headlines, endless opinions, endless distractions every day. The world shouts at you, look here, care about this, fear that, buy now. And without even realizing it, we start living on autopilot, reacting, chasing, scrolling, until one day we wake up exhausted and we wonder, what am I even doing? Stoicism invites a different question. What actually matters? Not what gets the most likes, not what makes you look impressive, but what matters to your soul, to your peace, to your purpose. The Stoics taught, we suffer more from imagination than from reality. We suffer because we pour our time, our energy, our life into things that don't even matter. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with rocks you don't need. Every step gets heavier. Every breath gets harder. Not because life is cruel, but because you are carrying what was never yours to hold. Focus is the art of putting down the rocks. Focus is the courage to say, I don't need this drama. I don't need this noise. I don't need this race. Focus is not just about productivity. Focus is about freedom. Freedom to choose. Where your heart lives, where your time flows, where your strength is planted every day. You are given a handful of hours, a handful of breaths, a handful of moments. How you spend them builds your life. Wastes them on noise, you build a life of regret. Invest them in what matters. You build a life of meaning. Today, you get to choose, not someday, not when life is easier, not when the world calms down. Now, focus is not found. Focus is chosen, moment by moment, breath by breath. Now, let's learn how to cut through the noise and build a life anchored in what truly matters. Distraction. It seems harmless. A scroll here, a quick check there, a few minutes. Lost. But the truth is, distraction is not harmless. It's the silent thief of your life. Every moment you lose to noise, you lose a moment you will never get back. Every hour you spend chasing nothing, you lose an hour you could have built something real. And the worst part, you don't even notice it happening. One notification, one click, one conversation that drains you. And slowly, the hours vanish, the days blur, the years slip away, until one day you look back and you realize, I didn't live my life, I was too busy reacting to it. The Stoics warned about this. They knew it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Time is the one thing you can never earn back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose possessions and replace them. But time, once spent, is gone forever, and distraction is the most expensive way to waste your time. Because it doesn't just steal your minutes, it steals your focus, it steals your purpose, it steals your life. One tiny moment at a time. You deserve better than that. Your life deserves better than that. Focus is not about doing more. Focus is about giving your attention to what makes you truly alive. Next time you reach for your phone, next time you chase another empty hour, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my life? Because that's what you're spending, not just time, but life. Now, let's learn how to start taking it back. In a world this loud, silence is a rare treasure. Every day, you are flooded, opinions, arguments, distractions, demands. Everyone shouting, look at me, listen to me, agree with me. And if you don't filter the noise, you drown in it. The mind was never built to process this much chaos. When you let every voice in, you lose the sound of your own. When you chase every urgency, you forget what actually matters. Stoicism teaches, the things you think about determine the quality of your mind. If you fill your mind with anger, you become angry. If you fill it with fear, you become fearful. If you fill it with noise, you lose clarity. Filtering the noise is not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing what deserves a place in your mind. Ask yourself daily, does this nourish my soul or drain it? Does this make me stronger or weaker? Does this deserve my time, my focus, my life? Because not everything deserves your energy. Not every battle deserves your sword. Not every voice deserves your attention. Protect your mind the way you would protect your home. You wouldn't leave your doors wide open to every stranger. So why leave your mind open to every noise? Imagine filtering what you let in. Imagine choosing carefully what you read, what you watch, what you allow into your heart. Imagine living with intention instead of reaction. This is not isolation, this is wisdom, this is freedom. Every time you filter the noise, you sharpen your clarity. Every time you protect your peace, you grow stronger. Now let's learn how to build a life anchored in what truly matters most. Once you cut through the noise, you face a new question. What will I build in its place? Because removing distractions is only the beginning. True peace, true power comes from anchoring your life to something deeper, to values. Values are your compass. In a chaotic world, they tell you what to chase, what to protect, what to walk away from. Without clear values, you drift, you react, you chase shadows, you build a life that looks full on the outside, but feels empty on the inside. But when you know your values, you move differently, you choose differently, you live with intention, not impulse. The Stoics taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So what do you stand for? What are the non-negotiables of your soul? Maybe it's honesty, even when it's hard. Courage, even when it's scary. Kindness, even when it's not returned. Discipline, even when no one is watching. Whatever your values are, name them, write them down, breathe life into them, because when you know what matters most, the rest becomes easier to ignore. Decisions become clearer, priorities become sharper, life becomes lighter. And when storms come, because they will, you don't get blown off course, you don't get lost in noise, you remember, I know who I am, I know what I stand for, I know where I'm going. And that clarity is worth more than gold. Now, let's learn how to put these values into action. Every single day, it's one thing to know your values, it's another thing to live them in a world that pulls you in 1,000 directions. Because the truth is, the world will not reward you for living with integrity. The world will tempt you to compromise, to chase approval, to take shortcuts, to silence your truth for comfort. And every time you bend, every time you betray what you know is right, you lose a little piece of yourself, not all at once, but slowly, quietly, until one day you don't recognize the person in the mirror. The Stoics warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, because living by your own values means sometimes standing alone. It means walking away from applause when it demands your soul as payment. It means choosing what is right over what is easy. You won't always be understood, you won't always be celebrated, but you will be free. Imagine living a day where your choices are clear, where your soul feels light, where your mind is calm, because you know you stayed true. Not perfect, but true. That's the real prize. Not fame, not riches, not the approval of a noisy world, but the quiet, steady pride of a life lived with honor. Every moment you act by your values, you strengthen yourself. Every moment you choose principle over pressure, you reclaim your soul, and in the end, no storm, no noise, no opinion can take that from you, because you will have built something stronger than anything the world could ever offer. You will have built yourself. Now, let's gather everything we've explored and move forward into the next chapter. Before you can build a strong life, you must first know what you want that life to stand for. Now, we begin Module 7. Build a life aligned with virtue. Imagine trying to build a house without a blueprint. You might stack some walls, you might put up a roof, but it wouldn't last. The first storm would tear it apart. Your life is the same. Without a clear foundation, you drift, you react, you chase, you crumble. But when you build on virtues, you build something that no storm can shake. So what are virtues? Virtues are the timeless qualities that make a human soul strong. Honesty, courage, kindness, discipline, justice, wisdom. The Stoics didn't chase wealth. They didn't chase fame. They chased excellence of character because they knew if you build your soul strong, everything else will follow. So how do you define your virtues? Start by asking, what kind of person do I admire most? What kind of strength do I want to grow inside me? What values would I protect, even if no one else applauded? Maybe for you, it's the courage to stand up when it would be easier to stay silent. Maybe it's the honesty to tell the truth, even when it costs you something. Maybe it's the kindness to forgive someone who will never say sorry. Whatever it is, name it, write it down, own it, because a life without clear virtues is like a ship without a rudder. But a life built on virtues is a fortress, a light, a legacy. And when you know your virtues, you know how to live, not by chasing trends, not by reacting to noise, but by building something eternal, something real. Now, let's take the next step. Learning how to live those virtues in every choice you make. Defining your virtues is only the first step. The real transformation comes from living them every single day, because values that stay on paper change nothing. Virtues that are not lived stay dead. The Stoics taught, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. So how do you live your virtues daily? Not perfectly, not always easily, but intentionally. First, remind yourself. Each morning, before the world pulls at you, breathe in deeply and remember, I choose honesty today. I choose courage today. I choose kindness today. Set your compass before the storms come. Second, notice your choices throughout the day whenever a decision appears. Pause and ask, is this aligned with my virtues? Not with convenience, not with comfort, but with your core. Third, forgive yourself when you fall, because you will. You'll lose patience, you'll slip into fear, you'll choose ease over excellence. But don't quit. Don't use failure as a reason to stop trying. Use it as a reminder of the path you chose. The path worth walking. Living your virtues is not about being perfect. It's about being faithful to the best version of yourself. Imagine looking back at the end of your day and knowing, I didn't live perfectly, but I lived intentionally. I chose truth over convenience. I chose courage over fear. I chose love over pride. That's a life you can be proud of. Not flashy, not noisy, but deeply strong and deeply good. And over time, those small daily choices become the bricks that build a life aligned with virtue. Now let's learn how to hold to your virtues, even when the storms come. It's easy to live by your virtues when life is calm, when no one challenges you, when everything goes your way. But the real test comes in the chaos, when you are tired, when you are hurt, when you are afraid. That's when your true strength is revealed. The Stoics knew this. They didn't aim to build fragile goodness that only survived on sunny days. They aimed to build an inner fortress that could withstand any storm, because storms will come. People will misunderstand you. Plans will fall apart. Life will hit harder than you expect, and in those moments, you will be tempted tempted to betray your own values, tempted to take the easy path, tempted to let the noise pull you off course. But that's exactly when you must stand firm. That's exactly when your virtues must not just live in your mind, but flow through your actions. When anger rises, choose patience. When fear tightens its grip, choose courage. When betrayal wounds you, choose integrity. Not because it's easy, not because it's painless, but because it's who you are. The storm is not your enemy, it's your training ground. Every storm is a chance to strengthen your roots. Every trial is a chance to choose who you will become. Imagine facing the chaos and remaining clear. Imagine being hit by life, but not losing yourself. Imagine standing tall, not because you are unshaken, but because you are unbreakable. This is the power of living your virtues through every storm. This is how you build a life that even chaos cannot tear down. Now let's prepare to bring everything together and walk the final steps. One day, your time here will end. One day, your voice will grow quiet, your steps will slow, and the world will go on without you. The question is not, will you be remembered? The question is, what will you leave behind? Not your possessions, not your trophies, not your titles. Those fade fast. What remains is your legacy. The impact you had, the character you built, the lives you touched. And the strongest legacy is not built by accident. It's built by living your virtues every day. Kindness when cruelty was easier. Courage when fear screamed louder. Honesty when lying seemed safer. Compassion when judgment came easily. Brick by brick, choice by choice, you build something eternal. A life that whispers long after you're gone. Here lived someone who chose courage over fear. Here lived someone who chose love over resentment. Here lived someone who built a soul stronger than storms. The Stoics didn't seek fame. They sought a good life, a life aligned with virtue, a life that needed no monuments because the monument was their character. You can build that too, starting today, starting now. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be faithful. Faithful to your highest self. Every breath you take is another chance. Every choice you make is another stone laid in the legacy you are building. Choose wisely, build bravely, live deeply, because in the end, you are the legacy you leave behind. You've walked a long road from mastering your mind to protecting your peace, from accepting what you cannot change to building a life rooted in virtue. You've faced storms, you've faced fears, you've faced yourself, and through it all, you have grown stronger, clearer, steadier. This is not the end, this is the beginning of a life lived with intention, with honor, with depth. You won't be perfect, you won't always choose the highest road, but every day you now have the map, the compass, the power to choose again. Every small choice, every silent victory, they matter. They build you, they shape you. So when the world screams, when storms rage, when chaos knocks at your door, breathe, remember who you are, and walk your path with courage. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more souls, like yours, grounded, unshakable, alive. If this journey spoke to you, leave a comment below. Not for me, not for numbers, but for yourself. To anchor this moment, to say, I choose virtue, I choose peace, I choose myself. Thank you for walking this path with me. The journey never ends, and the best is still ahead.